Good day. My presentation today is an attempt to look outside the box at the entertainment industry to see if market research can learn anything from success in other fields. This slide is an overview of what I will be covering today. Why serious games? What are they in fact? How do serious games relate to market research? And what are the benefits of considering them? I'm going to go through a few examples and look at some issues in implementing serious games to market research, and perhaps draw a little bit on the conclusions and look at the future. The major asset of market research is willing, accessible customers. Response rates are dropping using all methodologies. While online panels is the growth methodology, there are serious issues with retention of panelists. There are also quality issues that need to be managed. Making the interview experience fun might just help. As researchers, we have limited knowledge of what is outside the market research box. Some innovative researchers have tested and developed more user-friendly scales and grid substitutes, and Flash is being more widely used. Pictures are often inserted in questionnaires to break the monotony. Vision Critical, in fact, started as a gaming company in Canada and has adopted many of the skill sets that we're going to talk about. We have learned to manage costs of online. We've learned to look at the shortfalls by careful sample recruitment. We've learned to look at panel management and weighting processes. There might be an opportunity, if there are not too many trade-offs, to strive for even better data by improving respondent engagement in surveys. We know we need to fix participation rates, particularly amongst younger people, engagement and attention to questions, completion rates, online panelist retention, and we believe that serious games may provide an additional solution. Serious games are a category of video and computer games. Serious games can be of any genre, with the main goal of a serious game being not to entertain, although it must do this as well. A serious game is usually a simulation which has the look and feel of a game, but is actually a simulation of real-world events or processes. The main goal of a serious game is usually to train or educate users, although it may have other purposes such as marketing, while giving them an enjoyable experience. The fact that serious games are meant to be entertaining encourages reuse. While the largest users of serious games are the US government and medical professionals, other commercial sectors are beginning to see the benefits of such simulations and are actively seeking development of these types of tools. Serious games, as defined by Mike Zyder, are based on the basic definition of what a game is, with a focus on being a mental contest, with rules that use entertainment to further a range of specific training, education, or communication objectives. This has spawned other theories and applications, including persuasive games, smart gaming, advergame, and edutainment. And serious games has drawn its developers and advocates from gaming, the film industry, and writers. Personalities include Ian Bogost, Noah Falstein, and Lee Sheldon. Some of our big issues in online research today include the sample, participation levels in getting people to do the surveys, representativeness, including the shortage of young respondents, particularly 18 to 24-year-olds, response rate and dropouts due to poorly designed questionnaires with lots of repetition and grids, panel retention rates given churn and attrition, and the big debate, panels versus rivers. Does the river provide a wider range of fresh respondents? Quality is also an issue. The completion of surveys, particularly given so many longer questionnaires, which could lead to problems maintaining focus, and this results often in concerns about whether the data is valid. All of these benefits relate to a need to increase engagement of respondents in doing surveys. Kids learn by trying and making mistakes. The brain is made to fill in blanks. When we see a pattern, we delight in tracing it and seeing it reoccur. We call this practicing. Games are puzzles. They are often about cognition and learning to analyze patterns. When playing a game, it exercises your brain. But you'll only play it until you master the pattern. Once you have it, it becomes boring. Real fun comes from challenges that are always at the margin of our ability. Some people are more visual, others more verbal. IQ tests do not measure all forms of intelligence. Howard Gardner says that there are 7 forms: linguistic, logical, mathematical, bodily or kinesthetic, spatial, musical, interpersonal, and intrapersonal. This obviously has implications for the level of enjoyment and therefore participation by different groups of people. Ralph Costa, in his Theory of Fun, describes some of the differences between games. He says some games teach you to explore, or teach you to aim precisely, or teach you to do a task faster, or teach you to do a task more thoroughly. People usually play games that they are good at. This has enormous implications for use of games in market research. To date, most of the serious games that have been developed have been for education and training, for motivation building, and to train in specialist skills. Market research could be part of the next wave. To get the feeling for how this might work, I have a few slides which look at a virtual world you may have heard of or looked at. That is Second Life. Second Life is a virtual 3D world created in 2003 by Linden Lab. It is a virtual world of infinite possibilities. It has a virtual world. Each participant creates an avatar to participate. Avatars can look like you or totally different, aspirational or quirky. Companies entered Second Life doing advertising, selling products and services, and you can buy anything through their virtual economy. Research was also carried out with Second Life citizens. How does Second Life work? When you enter for the first time, you start at Welcome Island. This area will teach you the basics, including how to walk, zoom your camera, chat, stand, sit, fly even, and take you where you want to go. You can visit locations inspired by real cities. You can go to any environment, nightclub, ocean, or watch a sunset. You can wander through fictional landscapes, including Victorian gardens, dragon races, medieval cities. You can build things, you can create a home, you can socialize, you can organize events, you can meet people and make friends or even fall in love. You can choose to portray yourself using fictional or comic characters with differing faces, hairstyles, body build, age range, and clothes. You can even change your gender if you wish. Or you can select or create an avatar that is very realistic and very similar to the real person. I'm now going to take you briefly through some serious game examples which demonstrate how the use of games and puzzles can be both educational and motivating. In all of them, they are also fun and engaging, a set of characteristics market research questionnaires should aspire to. Darfur is Dying is a viral video game for change that provides a window into the experience of the 2.5 million refugees in the Darfur region of Sudan. The game is a narrative-based simulation where the user, from the perspective of a displaced Darfurian, negotiates forces that threaten the survival of his or her refugee camp. Players must keep their refugee camp functioning in the face of possible attack by Janjaweed militias. Players can also learn more about the genocide in Darfur that has taken the lives of 400,000 people and find ways to get involved to help stop this human rights and humanitarian crisis. Peacemaker is a video game to promote peace. Peacemaker is inspired by real events in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Peacemaker is 2 games in one. You can play the role of the Israeli Prime Minister or the Palestinian President. You can be a leader and bring peace to the region before your term in office ends, and you can choose which leader you wish to be. You play the news. How would you react to the events in the Middle East, presented using real news footage and images? There are 3 difficulty levels to choose from, including calm, tense, and violent. You have controls to either plunge the region into disaster or win the Nobel Peace Prize. Foldit is a revolutionary computer game enabling you to contribute to important scientific research. Players can design new proteins that could prevent or treat important diseases such as HIV or cancer. The number of different ways a small protein can fold is infinite. Foldit attempts to predict the structure of a protein by taking advantage of humans' puzzle-solving intuitions and having people play competitively to fold the best proteins. Every kind of protein folds up into a very specific shape. The structure of the protein specifies the function of the protein, and knowing the structure of a protein is key to understanding how it works and how to target it with drugs. America's Army is one of the top 10 most popular PC action games played online. The most authentic military experience available, it explores the development of soldiers in individual and collective training as well as deployment and simulated missions. Players attempt to earn Green Beret status through training, Special Forces assignment selection. Players who complete this training take on elite Special Forces roles and are qualified to play in multiple player missions and units. Roles allow players to experience responsibilities and abilities, and it has 48 unique missions to play, and players can view media video online. Remission is a game for young people with cancer with the aim of helping patients conquer their diseases. There are 20 missions to choose from. Patient information is added to the game, and there are online communities and support groups. My Spanish Coach is a Nintendo DS game developed in collaboration with linguists and latest methods of learning to teach users to speak Spanish. It has a voice recording and playback feature to listen and compare phrases, and one can participate in mini-games including World Search and Whack-A-Mole as shown in the slide. It has a built-in reference tool, and it also has over 12,000 Spanish words and phrases. Having looked at these few game examples, we can see how we might add an element of fun or interaction into our relationship with consumers. We need to think about the consumer benefits we want to drive from doing this. The benefits could include involvement, interaction, creativity, motivation, sense of community, achievement, challenge, and learning. How might this work in practice? First, one needs to develop a game strategy. How does it start, get played, and end? Does it end or continue in subsequent surveys? Secondly, do we provide a personal avatar? What are the benefits of playing? Does it build up points, a score, virtual possessions, or contribute to an ultimate incentive or reward, depending on how far you proceed or how often you play or participate? How does it integrate into the questionnaire, creating focus on questions and not a distraction? Does your personal score carry forward, or is it a benchmark to better? Some of the key elements in the design for a research survey could include creating puzzles, designing prizes, working out the accumulation of status, making sure there is interaction and fun, and creating a training process for choice model and best-worst studies. Some possible devices for consideration might be using avatars and medals to gain ongoing involvement. Providing an avatar may be too time-consuming if only used once, though. Accumulating medals and trading them for upgraded medals may be a device that creates consumer engagement and appeal to the consumer's pride, with ongoing recognition of their accumulated status of being a gold or platinum member. Your design could also look at using the visuals to improve the aesthetics and participation enjoyment. This could include personalized choice of colors, creating one's own avatar, changing screens using pictures, using visuals for sorting and selecting brands and words, and also the use of drop boxes. So it will be easy for researchers to implement serious games into our questionnaires. I do not believe so. It will have many challenges. The type of game needs to address different interests and types of IQs. Our skill sets in designing games will result in differing levels of creativity between research panels and even between surveys, resulting in potential bias in participation levels and consumer focus. It may not be easy to develop a scalable template which can be adopted for different surveys. And with the wrong game, we may see boredom instead of a desire to re-engage with subsequent surveys. Not all surveys will use or require a game, particularly if it adds time and cost to the survey. Given current concerns about questionnaire length, we have to be very careful about adding to the questionnaire length in any way. Those who play and want to play may have different profiles from the population, and this might require careful quota controls and weighting. In conclusion, it is evident that entertainment can lead to involvement, focus, and retention of panelists. There is opportunity to learn from disciplines outside of market research. Games are being applied to commerce and training, education, communication, and advertising. Why not in market research? There will be a lot of work, however, to test and implement consumer needs and interests, differing IQs, measuring the bias that it introduces, measuring the benefits, looking at the impact on results of good versus mediocre games, and understanding the weighting implications. However, some progress is being made. Here are two examples, courtesy of Vision Critical, which show how questionnaires can be more fun, can be more interactive, and can utilize the visual and computer medium to its full extent. Here is a screenshot of direct mail one might receive in the letterbox. You can keep it or throw it away. By asking questions in the run up to this exercise, you can establish how often the respondents sort their mail and therefore how many items should be in the stack. Once they get to the exercise, they're asked to review each piece of mail, front and back, as well as inside if they want, if it's available, and then decide whether they want to keep it or discard it. If they keep it, it goes into their mail tray, and if they discard it, it goes into the rubbish. And this exercise is designed to get the respondent to populate their wallet with cards that they currently own. In the run-up to this exercise, they would be asked who they bank with and what cards they have, both credit and debit. Then in this exercise, they use a panel on the left to help filter the cards down to the ones that meet the specifications of their cards. Once they find their card, they can select it and add it to the wallet. Both these examples show that use of visuals can help with respondent involvement and create a sense of fun. So if we look to the future, serious games can provide a solution. To do it properly, however, will take time. To integrate it into the market research culture and methodologies will be at a cost. New skill sets and resources will be required. A niche group of researchers will address it and solve some of the industry's issues with increased recruitment levels, participation levels, involvement, engagement and focus, validity and richness of response, and retention of panels. Thank you.